This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
BooBaes.
Hi,
Hello, and welcome to
BooBaes.
BooBaes. That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we're here to talk to you about a new horror film that's done well.
Talk to me. 2022 Australian supernatural horror film.
Oh, it came out in 22.
Yeah. Well, technically it did, but it got bought by
overseas.
Yeah. It got bought out by
here.
A24, and then they distributed it.
In 2023. Okay.
And it was directed by Danny and Michael Philippou. I think that's how you say it. Philippou. And they were some YouTubers basically who decided to take an idea and turn it into a whole film, which is
So it's based off of a short story or short movie, short film.
Kind of like Lights Out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty. I mean, for going to from YouTube to a movie, it's pretty like it seems like pretty professionally, like I don't know, like a full-fledged director. You know what I mean? To film people who are used to doing films. But yeah,
To have some big faces in it too.
for sure. Like the lady from Sabrina, the Teenage Witch.
Yeah.
And then I recognized like the young actors and actresses, but I couldn't quite place them and what I'd seen them in. Like Jade. Like I know I've definitely seen her before.
Oh yeah, she did look familiar, but I have no clue who
on what she's been in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we have Sophie Wilde, Alexandra Jensen, Joe Bird, Miranda Otto, who I was talking about. And then I really liked how there were kind of, to me, I guess it seemed like fresh faces, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Not overly used.
With like people that we're familiar with. But yeah, it's how would you describe it off the bat? It's pretty much kind of like a new take on like a Ouija board, spirit board type of situation.
Yeah.
Contacting the other side.
Definitely dabbling in things that they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of like I watched The New Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
I fell asleep.
Oh no.
But
was it bad?
No. I think I was just really tired.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it had to do with a pendulum instead of a Ouija board this time, and contacting the spirits and then spirits going wrong. And so it's kind of all in that same.
It's not a remake, is it? Or like, is it like just a different story?
Yeah, it's a different story altogether. Okay. It does have Reagan in it. So it's like a continuation. Like it has Reagan and the mom. Yeah. Oh, and that's they contact the mom to help.
Because they're like, oh, you've been through this before. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's definitely still the same universe. It's just a new age story with Reagan being a full-fledged adult and everything. Reagan's in it for like all of 2 seconds.
But she's in it.
But she's in it.
Like full-fledged? Or like they just mention her?
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They mention her a few times. But she's in it for like I said, like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
With her actual body.
Yeah.
But they mention her more than that.
That's wild.
That's
pretty cool.
It was interesting. But yeah, this is essentially just kids getting possessed and tormented by spirits, not turning into full-fledged demons like The Exorcist, but
it's somewhere in between possession and like haunting, almost in a way.
Yeah.
This is like they get possessed for a while, but it comes in and out.
It's like they're conjuring spirits and then the spirits stick around.
I think there's a lot left to be like explained.
Yeah.
Like how it all even works and stuff. I know that there's already a sequel like in production or being produced, not necessarily being filmed, but I think like it's the writing process and all that has started for it.
That's cool.
But hopefully it'd be interesting to learn more about the hand and like where that all started from, as opposed to just like maybe a different group of kids or something.
Yeah.
Or people. Or to follow her in the whatever the further.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Whatever she's in now.
The sunken place.
Do you feel like it stood up to the hype?
Whenever I first watched it, I really liked it, and upon my second watch, I don't know, I'm not gonna say that it almost was like I liked it more the first time than I did the second time, if that makes sense. I don't know.
I felt that way about movies before.
Yeah. I don't know. I not to really like knock it or cut it down, but I definitely feel like the first time, for some reason, I felt, and I also watched it in the theater. I was by myself when I went to go watch it.
Oh, fun.
I think that I was just probably the setting and being by myself and watching it and getting spooked in the theater and having like that whole, being surrounded by all of it, probably added to me getting creeped out by it. But I did, when I watched it the first time, thought like, okay, like it's a pretty valiant take and effort on like putting a spin on like, kind of the classic story of, what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Kids messing with things they shouldn't be messing with.
Yeah.
And I liked how kind of they also portrayed the hand as almost like a hit of dopamine, like a drug almost, when they were playing with it and messing with it, as opposed to just like a spirit board and people were like either spooked by it or like, we want to do that again. But I feel like they were doing it because for some reason contacting this other spirit world was releasing some, maybe doing even something chemically within their body where they felt like it was like euphoric in a way.
Yeah. I mean, because
that's how she was describing it as well.
Yeah, she described it as being like she felt like she was glowing and was a passenger in her own body.
Sounded like acid, like an acid trip.
Yeah.
Almost. That's what it felt like. But yeah, if you want to dive right into it.
Yep.
We start and we have basically a party going on, and we have I forgot Duckett's brother's name. Cole is looking for his brother.
Looking for Duckett. Which, what kind of name is Duckett?
Sounds like bucket.
Yeah.
Duckett.
Or
fuck it. Maybe I don't know.
It's like when my phone tries to autocorrect.
It sounds like, right?
Fucking.
To ducking. It sounds like one of those little ducks from Huey, Louie, Dewey Tells. I don't know. I feel like that's their cousin. Duckett.
Cousin Duckett. Yeah.
But we have him looking for his brother, of course, and then everybody's like, your brother, get him under control. He's in Jason's room or someone's room.
Yeah, someone's room. And the mom, there's like a mom there at this party too.
Was that a mom?
She looked like a mom.
She could have been a mom.
She looked older. It was a birthday party. Yeah. And I mean, it was a pretty bumping party for starts. It looked like professionally thrown. And then she was like, I'm about to call the police if you don't get him under control, kind of thing. And yeah, then he goes and he knocks down the door, and the other guy's like, fucking, you're knocking down my mom's door. My mom's door.
My mom's. Maybe that's how they do it in Australia. Maybe they party with their kids. I don't know.
Maybe.
And so, yeah, he does end up breaking through that door, and Duckett's in there, and he doesn't sound that well. He's like talking to himself.
Yeah, and his back's all covered in lacerations, and he looks pretty roughed up.
And he ends up, Cole ends up getting him and walking him out. And as soon as he gets him to like the crowd of people, everybody brings out their phones, of course, and starts recording him. And Cole does not take lightly to it. So he's yelling at everybody, trying to get everybody to put their phone up. But before he can even like, catch his bearings or whatever, Duckett comes from behind, and you can hear him like grab a knife. You can hear the like,
you hear the little shink.
And just comes in, stabs his brother right in the like heart, or I don't know, his lungs area. Probably killed him instantly.
No, because Cole comes into play later.
Oh yes, hello. That's a major part.
It was his right side of his body.
Trying to throw you off.
So it was, he stabbed him in the shoulder.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we have,
had it been the other side of his body, it probably would have nicked his heart.
or an artery or something. That was looked like a big blade, like a kitchen knife, like full size scale. Like what are those called? Not a butcher, but
big cutting knife.
Yeah. And then Duckett goes out into the middle of the backyard, where everyone's running around and freaking out, and just ends up unaliving himself.
Stabs himself right in the face.
Right, like would you say it was between the eyes
or in the eye or something?
Yeah,
it was definitely in the eye.
It went all the way through right to the handle.
Yeah,
it's a lot of force. But yeah, and so we basically start the movie off that way, because then we get a title card.
Yep, title card that looks like it's been scratched into the film screen. And it looks very similar to the writing that's upon the hand itself.
Like scribbly almost.
Yeah. Like
or like fingernails on a chalkboard almost, or whatever.
Or fingernails in a door.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good call. That's true. Because that comes into play later.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
We open up to our main actor, Mia. On this one, she's on the steps, right?
Yeah.
Is this a funeral going on?
It was a remembrance day.
That's right.
Because as we find out later, I thought it was a funeral or a wake of some sorts at first, but then as we find out later, it was her 2-year anniversary of her mom's death. So they were having a little get together for her mom.
Yeah, I guess that's what people do. I've never heard of that. Do people do that?
Remembrance days? Not that packed.
Yeah.
It looked like a funeral because so many people were there.
See, and so I didn't know if it was a funeral, and like it was just like, then whenever he's asking her here in a second, like her dad, he's like, how are you doing today? How is it? I just thought like maybe it was triggering or something for her. Yeah. I don't know. But that does make sense that it is the Remembrance Day. And we have, like we said, her dad trying to talk to her. And then he isn't this the part where he's trying to talk to her, and then she's trying to wash the dishes?
Yeah. And then she ends up getting a phone call from Riley, who is basically her younger brother.
Yeah.
And she needs to go. You can gather that she needs to go pick someone up. Kind of right now. And so she leaves.
They're really laying down as well that like these two, her and her dad, do not have a really good relationship at the moment. Like their communication is very just much like like I guess a teenager who doesn't want to talk to their parent.
Yeah. Very standoffish.
And so she goes to pick up Riley, and we're introduced to Riley, who's with his friend James, and you can tell that James is kind of like the little bad influence type of friend that he hangs out with. And
James was, I would smack that kid.
He's selling cigarettes, and they're watching some other kid on like Snapchat videos.
Yeah, who looks like he looks so cringe.
Yeah, and then Riley's like, he looks elfish.
Yeah,
and then James is like, what? And so we have Riley popping up, kind of making fun at Riley. Oh no, Mia popping up, making fun of Riley, because she sees him with the cigarettes. Offers James a ride, but he doesn't. He's just gonna wait for his mom, and they end up going home. We have this cute scene of us building like their relationship, where they're singing "Chandelier" by Sia in the car.
Scream singing it really fast. I want to go back to the "you're a fucking fetus" insult.
Oh yeah, to Riley.
Yeah, whenever he doesn't want to smoke the cigarette, which we can kind of tell too in that moment that Riley's a good kid and it doesn't want to get involved in things that maybe James is up to. But he just calls him. He says, "You're a fucking fetus," and that insult was the weirdest insult I've ever heard, but I liked it.
Yeah, basically like a weenie, like a chicken.
Yeah, you're being a baby.
And so we have them singing that song, and then we end up coming upon a kangaroo that unfortunately I guess has been hit by someone else before them, trying to cross the road, and it's dying in front of their eyes. And Riley is telling her that they need to basically put it out of its misery. And so they attempt to, but Mia can't bring herself to run over it, which understandably.
I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
If I came across an animal on the road, I wouldn't be able to do that.
And
So.
and then Jade even says later on, like, why didn't you call the whatever number
RSPCA or something like
which
that
would have been the best thing to do, because even me, like, I would maybe even want to, like, well, let me move it out of the road, but then, like, you could hurt it more. It could kick or do something to hurt you, and then you're both hurt, so
she should have called some sort of authority to come take care of it, one that specializes in things like that. But
and so
they don't. They just drive
leave
off.
it. Yeah, but that'll come back later. And so they get home. We meet up with Riley's sister, which is Mia's friend Jade. And they have this, like, Riley is getting onto Jade because she didn't pick him up, and then she's like, "Don't tell mom." He's like, "I'm gonna tell mom." Their mom's not there, and we have this little cute moment between well, not a cute moment, I guess. We have Riley Mia trying to get Jade's attention, but she's on the phone, not necessarily paying attention to her, talking about her mom's Remembrance Day. And then we have her mentioning the kangaroo to Jade, and Jade's still not paying her any attention.
Yeah, she's like not paying any attention at this point. And
which Mia brings up. She's like, "Can you pay attention to me?"
Yeah, which was, I feel like, a fair, that whatever the other girl's name is, Haley,
yeah.
Yeah, she's like, she's so clingy. And I'm like, maybe she's a little clingy, but also if someone's right in front of you, I would rather you not be on your phone the whole time. That's pretty fucking rude.
Yeah. And so she ends up getting Mia to pay attention to her for a little bit, but not long, because then Daniel ends up calling, right?
Yeah, Daniel calls, and she's got the most god-awful ringtone.
It's the Crazy Frog, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so she ends up talking to Daniel. We then have him being like, "Oh, is that Mia?" So she's like, "Yeah." And so she's like, "I'm going to call you back later." And that's whenever they look up on the phone and they see that Haley, right, her Snapchat is throwing that party or whatever.
Yeah. And she wants to go.
Yeah. And she's asking Jade to go.
Yeah. And Jade's pretty hesitant, but Mia's like, "Please just do this for me.
For my mom's Remembrance Day. Like, I need to not think about that, essentially." And so she ends up agreeing. And then I think this is whenever we have she's going to call back Daniel. So she's like, "Give me 5 minutes." And so then Riley goes to I keep calling Mia Riley. Mia goes to hang out with Riley. And she helps him with his homework, apparently. And then we have mom coming home, and mom, is kind of talking to Mia, basically saying, like, "I'm sorry that I didn't make it to your mom's Remembrance Day. I couldn't get off of work." And we can see that from this interaction that Mia and Sue are like, she's basically kind of like her second mom. She's very much let Mia like come and stay and be welcome in their home, I guess, as she's been having a hard time acclimating to the death of her mom, which I would feel would probably be hard for any young person to go through. And so she ends up it's funny to me when Riley's doing his homework and she's yelling at him to get his shit off the table.
Yeah, she gave him 1 second.
Yeah, and then she yells at him again. And I'm like, and I would have been like, "Oh yeah, good, you're doing your homework."
Yeah.
But we have that happen, and then quite immediately we have, after, I guess, I'm assuming they had dinner, Jade is asking her mom if she's going to bed, and the mom is like, "Oh, I know you're gonna sneak out, yada yada yada." And long story short, who do we have sneaking out? Mia, Jade, and Riley.
Yeah,
and
they're taking Riley to the party
because he's threatening to tell her mom that she forgot to pick him up.
Yeah, or at least tell him about them sneaking out. Yeah. And then she's like, "Well, mom basically already knows." And they end up at this party. This is probably also, the most chill role. Miranda Otto is her name, who plays the mom. Yeah. And it's probably the most chill role, because in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, she's so uptight. Yeah. And then I recognize her from Lord of the Rings.
You're so right. Yeah.
And
not Arwen, but the other one.
Yeah. The one who
the other
falls
love
in love with
interest.
him. Yeah.
And he's like, nope, sorry,
I
in love
am
with an
no
elf.
man.
Yeah. And then she
Rips
kills
off.
the Witch King.
Yep. I recognized her from that.
I can't remember her name.
And anyways, she not chill in there either.
Well, she had one of my favorite interactions throughout the whole movie is whenever she's coming to the kids and she's like, "What time's the party?" So what time's the party? Oh, it's okay. Jade told me.
Aowen.
Yeah, Aowen. And so I don't know. She was really, I liked that even if we didn't get her throughout the whole movie and she wasn't a main character, I liked her character a lot.
Oh, yeah. I liked her character a lot, too. I think she did a fantastic job.
She sold the worried mother and then like protective mother and then chill mom. Like, so she was all of them. Cool mom, chill mom, protective
cool
mom.
Like Mean Girls.
But yeah, we have them arriving to the party and immediately, like, Haley's a dick.
Yeah, because she's like, "Oh, you're here. Oh, we're babysitting," and then poor fucking Mia just walks in and she just goes, "Fuck me."
Yeah,
and then is like later talking to Jade and is like basically saying like, "Why do you have to bring her?
She's clingy.
Too clingy," and yeah, just being rude as fuck. She's like, I can't stand her. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, well. She's here now, so what are you gonna do about it?
And also like Haley herself, himself, themself. I don't know them. Haley. I'm just gonna say them because I could not get a for sure like what we're going. What's the vibe? We're not affirming to gender. We are, which is all cool and great, but. Nobody ever used pronouns. They always kept saying just Haley the whole time with Haley. So, and then Joss was named Jocelyn. I feel like they did that on purpose. Like her friend, Haley's friend was named Jocelyn, but he was a guy. Yeah. I've never met a boy named Jocelyn, but that actually kind of eats. I like that. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
It's like when boys are named Ashley.
Oh, I've never met a boy Ashley. Have I? No. I met a boy, Leslie. I've met a Leslie that's a boy.
I've met a Leslie boy too.
Yeah. Wait, there was another one too that I met.
I like those gender neutral names.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Or like Charlie.
Oh yeah, that is. But for some reason, mine associates Charlie with boy. I guess because Charles. Yeah. But I guess Charles can also like. I want to meet a girl named Charles. She'd probably be really cool.
I still to this day wish that they would have named me because my dad is Charles Robert Klein III.
Oh, you could have been the fourth.
I could have been the fourth. Instead, I just have initial CRK still.
Oh, they did that on purpose?
Yeah. Keep
the tradition-ish alive?
Yeah. Yeah. But
at least on paper.
I wish I would have been named Charlie. That would have been cool. Yep. He almost named me Quadrophenia, which is like a Rush album. Or something.
Quadrophenia?
Yeah.
What would be your like nickname?
Quaddy.
Feeny. There's so many to choose from.
I like Feeny.
Quadrophenia?
Yeah. It's
I mean, honestly.
Thank God dads weren't in control.
Quadrophenia. It's weird because I like the name trigonometry. I think that name is just so cool.
For a kid?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was just telling Robert, we were just talking about this like 2 days ago, I think. It was really funny. I don't know.
Call him Trig for short.
Maybe. I don't know. But there were other names too.
That's what Trig is.
But then there was a few other names too, but yeah. Funny times. We are at this party, of course, and Mia's kind of giving the whole awkward kid, like kind of to herself. Everybody else is kind of mingling, talking. Nobody, and unfortunate for her, I mean, it's not like anybody's really going out their way to talk to her anyways. There's kind of this, I feel like probably a stigma around her. Like, oh, it's, Mia, the depressed kid whose mom died 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, because she tried to talk to someone and then they basically were just like, we're just hanging out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, don't talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really rude.
And so we have Jade coming up to her, kind of talking to her a little bit. Then Daniel shows up finally, which we have this like already this whole time gotten not clues but hints and like things that like Mia and Daniel not necessarily had a thing, but like kind of kissed or dated at one point in the past. Like they're kids though, so like how kid relationships are. Because they got to be just like sophomores or something. They don't feel like seniors or anything just yet. Because Riley is definitely giving like 13-year-old vibes. So they're definitely like 15 or something like that. Yeah. 15, 16. That's what it gave. But yeah, we have all the kids now gathering around, and it's time for the magic trick, the show and tell hour.
It did very much feel like show and tell.
Yeah, and we have Jocelyn and Haley introducing everyone to the hand that they pull out, which basically just looks like oh, what are those things like that people like wax figure hands, or like
when you make a cast of something.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And they pull it out, and it's covered in all this writing, and I feel like, does it actually say "talk to me" on it?
I don't remember seeing. I never paused.
I read
it and
something from it, but I don't remember what it said now.
I felt like maybe "talk to me" wasn't necessarily like the only words you could say, and every type of way that you could, because I did read another one that said like enter here or something like that. I don't know, something kind of like that. But I never paused it, which I should have.
Just to really examine the hand.
Because it had so much different like scribbling and writing on it. It did look like a cast, like your friend's cast, and everybody was like,
yeah.
Haley, Joshua.
Yeah, sign whenever you sign a cast, Yeah, but they're basically giving us the rundown on what can and cannot happen with this hand. And basically we understand that you can't go longer than 90 seconds. You light the candle to open the door, blow it out to close it. And you have to tell it, talk to me. And then you'll see a spirit. Yeah.
And then when you see it, you then have to say, I let you in order for it to essentially possess you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're allowing this entity to enter your body.
Which we all see through the course of Mia volunteering, because they're asking like who wants to go first. And I think in a sort of like attempt to, I'm gonna let me be the cool kid. Let me, let me fit in. She's like, I'll go first. And so they're all like down for it. Of course, they're hyping her up. And then as soon as she does say, talk to me, and she touches the hand, she sees a ghost or a spirit. I don't know if they're considered ghosts just because they're like in limbo. I don't know. What makes a ghost and a spirit a spirit? They kind of almost seem demonic at points too.
Yeah. Some of them seemed definitely, at least they were not friendly spirits.
They were malevolent.
Yeah. Most of them were not friendly. Even her mom didn't seem friendly.
Oh, no. Yeah. Which I don't think was her mom the entire time.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was definitely feeling like you're getting played, homegirl.
Yep. They are playing on, like, her especially weaknesses. If they're able to imitate things like they imitate the dad later on and stuff. Yeah, that has to be, it wasn't her mom. But basically she sits down and she holds hands with the hand and says, the talk to me, sees an old man spirit sitting across from her. And then she basically is like, spooked. Freaks out and lets go of the hand. So breaking the connection, and is freaking out. And Jade is just like, stop playing around. And she's like, I swear to fuck. Like, this is actually happening. And then so they're basically, everyone's egging her on to do it again. And she does. And this time this spirit's even more terrifying looking. Yeah. She looks like she drowned or something and was. She
got like bubbles on her skin.
Yeah.
From like water. What's like the word?
Bloating.
What's the word when like people are in the, but like decomposition from water, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's a term for it. But yeah. And
she's like waterlogged and. Stuff like that. And it's, it's not her mom because you hear water gurgling with her mom later on.
Throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things tying in water as well. Like it's kind of, there's a few times that it's raining as well. A lot throughout the film. And like you said, those times when we can hear it in the background and the sound effects. And she sees this ghost woman, water lady, and then she says, I let you in. And we see her like fling her body back, and then she comes back up and her eyes are pitch black.
Yeah. Got them black contacts in.
Which also to me gave like not ghost vibes, but also demon vibes. I was like, this seems a lot darker than just like spirits. And immediately too, like your face, anytime someone gets possessed, like their face like gets, I don't know what's the word,
it looks like their
veins decaying. Yeah, like almost. Their veins are more present and visible.
Yeah. The like around their mouth starts discoloring, and their eyes and stuff, like basically I think it's from them being choked too.
That's
So
true.
it's
Like
a lack of
asphyxiation, oxygen.
getting to them, and they're like choking out.
Yeah. So she's possessed, and this lady basically comes to after like maniacally laughing with everyone and starts looking at
Riley.
hair first, right? And then works her way to Riley, but is like, there he is. And then he's like, oh, he likes you.
Yeah, he likes you, pretty boy.
He's behind you now.
Yeah, he's behind you. He'll split you. And then she says, run, run, run. 1,000 times.
And then they can't get it off. And then finally they are able, Joss and Haley are able to pull it off of Miss Mia.
And it went over 90 seconds, which was one of the rules. Was like the first rule when we broke it.
Yeah.
So we know that something's bad is going to happen. And I poor Riley was so freaked out. He was like crying.
Oh, yeah. I would be too. I mean, that's pretty freaky, and because even like that door opened, and I love how whenever the door opened, like I love how all the kids are like, you could visibly see like they all did a good job of like, oh, we're freaked out, and turned their
phones to the door as
which
well,
is good commentary on like today, because that's what everybody does is let's record it. Which I mean, honestly, please record it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Like I need proof. I need to also see it as well. And so we have, as they take Mia away from the hand, and immediately though she does come back to like herself, and then they're like, how was that? And she was like, it was amazing. And so
basically just like that.
And they're all like, woo. And so we have now back at home, Riley, who can't sleep because he was so spooked by what happened with the hand. And so he goes to Jade, who's a fucking bitch. And which, I mean, I guess I get. I feel like siblings would probably be like that at that age. Like, no, go sleep in your own room, baby. So she shuns him away, and he leaves without closing the door. And then he goes and finds comfort with Mia, who's in the living room, I guess, on a pull-out bed.
Yeah, upstairs. And they have axolotls.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
That was cute.
But like 3 of them.
Yeah.
In the tank. I wonder if they fight. They're probably docile.
Probably
They're
cute. Too squishy.
They're cute.
But yeah, Riley has to sleep with Mia, and it goes up there, and she's like, doesn't she even say like, what a bitch?
Yeah, she's like, oh, what a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a bitch. Such a bitch. Yeah. And then we have him asking, and then she's like, it's your house, bro. And so, he goes and gets next to her. But I love how immediately he was like,
how'd your mom die?
Yeah. Like he just like goes there, and she's like, oh, and he's like, only bits.
And right before that, she's talking with him, and she's like, oh, you worried you're gonna have nightmares?
About
and
the
he
hand,
says, I don't get nightmares. And she goes, oh, well, I do. I have a reoccurring nightmare where I basically wake up and go through things, but then my reflection is gone. And
that's when we get the asking about how was the hand. That's right.
Yeah. And she says, like, that she's worried about being like nothing and stuff like that. And then he asks how the hand was, and she says, I felt like I was glowing, but I was like I could see, hear, and feel everything, but it was like I was in the passenger seat. And then Riley does just go, how'd your mom die? And then she's like, and he says, oh, only bits. I only know a little bit, probably because he was too young to let know.
They didn't probably give him all the information.
Yeah.
That apparently she took too many sleeping pills.
By accident.
Quote unquote accident. And whenever her dad tried to open the door the next morning, her mom was slumped over the door on the other side, so he couldn't get through. And whenever he did get through, unfortunately, I'm assuming she died in the middle of the night. And pulls her body out. I'm assuming Mia witnessed all of this and just sees her mom laying there dead on the floor as he's crying over her. And she also mentions that, she tried to get help because her fingernails had like blood on them and were like, chipped back the nails, and there were scratches on the door.
Yeah.
So to her, and I'm assuming maybe she was told this information. I don't know if she necessarily saw that information. I don't know. Or maybe the door does have scratches on it and she's seen that for herself.
Yeah, maybe.
But it could be that her mom did very well, because we find out later there is a note, did plan it, but then it happening was like regretted it and like tried to stop it from happening. Yeah,
definitely a possibility.
Mhm.
And then they keep on talking, and he was like, you got depressed afterwards. Jade said you got depressed afterwards. And she was like, yeah, I just felt alone. And then she says, I don't feel alone anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like,
ooh, yeah, same.
That's
Sneaking
a little
suspicion
spooky.
that that's because of the ghost.
Yep.
And I love how Riley, I like how we get an even more like building of what the dynamic is already before the movie started, that they are kind of more close and like family, because he's like, well, you'll never be alone, silly, because you have me and you have Jade.
Yeah. You'll always have us.
So you can tell that this family has embraced her fully at this point. But yeah, it's the next day, and Daniel really wants to try the hand. So we have Miss Jade and Mia going up to Haley, talking to her.
Oh,
Haley's still a
wait,
dick.
can we talk about whenever she took the phone out of his hand and stuff?
And
took
then that's
the
right.
earbud out.
And then another creepy hand touched him.
That creepy hand came in and patted his little head, and I was like, ugh.
And it looked very creepy.
Yeah, it looked like it had writing on it, or like it was covered in boils.
Yeah,
and blisters. Like,
I couldn't tell, because we don't see obviously whose hand it is, but it did definitely look like maybe the man that the lady was talking about.
Yeah.
From the interaction earlier, that's what I thought. Like, oh, that's got to be whoever she was talking about, whatever spirit.
Yeah.
And now it's clung to him, followed them home.
It was creepy. It was a nasty looking hand, though. I would not want it touching me.
And we have so that next day Haley agrees, and he's like, I'll be over at your house at 11 or 10 tonight. They basically have an hour to be together because he's got to go, or anyways, they have a party to go to at 11, and Jade's mom leaves at 9 or something like that. So anyways, we're at home. We have Daniel showing up at the door, and that's whenever Sue is like, oh no, goes to the kids and is like, why is Daniel here? I swear to God, if you're throwing a party, like, and then we have her kind of interrogating everybody and asking Riley, asking James, asking the girls again. I swear
to God, if there's a party here or if you drink, I'll punch you in the face.
Yeah, on God. She was like, on God.
Which cracked me up.
And then she goes back over to Mia, and she's like, if there's a party here tonight, you're never invited ever again, effective immediately. And Mia's just like, okay. Like, everybody's like, okay, there's no party. Yeah. And I mean, truthfully, they were telling the truth. Only 2 friends were coming over. And she ends up leaving, going from work to work. And then that's whenever we have Haley and Joss coming back over. And whenever they're getting things set up, I think, is it Mia or Jade? I'm pretty sure it's Mia. That's when she starts asking, like, where did y'all even, like, where did this hand come from? Like, what's the origin? And he starts bringing up his friend Duckett, who we already saw at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And how he got it from Duckett, and he didn't buy it or anything. It was just given to him because Duckett said that he no longer. Oh no, that's a little bit later. But anyways, he's just, says he gets it from them. But then we start getting into like the superstition, or not superstition, but like the lore, because there's not really a solid story of like it belonged to a medium from back in the day.
Medium that's been cut off and embalmed and stuff, or then it was the hand of a Satanist, something. So
and his other hand is out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which could be a thing as well.
That could be what we saw at the end.
That's what I thought, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was the same hand.
Made it all the way to Greece. I think they were speaking, it said Greek.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was another version of it, or the other side of it.
Yeah.
What would happen if you made them, maybe you close the door if you make them touch each other.
And then it explodes.
That'd be the sickest ending to a film. To a ghost film, because
that's how we just called it. That's how the second one's gonna end.
Why are there never explosions in ghost movies? Why is there never an action ghost movie? Like, I love action movies, honestly.
You get a ghost walking away with giant flames behind it.
Is that what Ghost Rider is? We're explaining Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage. But I need a third Ghost Rider film, Nicolas Cage. Come on, make it happen. And so we have, all of that, but there's basically no real, explanation for it. But at this point, we do have them getting ready, and we have Daniel trying to do the whole thing. And so whenever he does do it, though, unfortunately, it does look at first like it's going wrong because he's just choking, but then he finally comes to, and it's a sexual deviant spirit.
Yeah, that it looks at poor Jade.
Oh, yeah.
Looks right Jade in the eye, and it says he hates it when you touch him. It makes him soft. And it's like, oh, damn.
That's pretty barbaric.
Yeah.
And even Haley's like, man, this spirit's a cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have then Daniel looking at Mia and like moaning and like making these
licking his lips,
noises, very sexual, and
touching himself, not just touching his chest and stuff, like rubbing on his chest, and then falling over, and then like humping the floor, humping the ground. Yeah.
And then the dog Cookie comes to like lick him, and he's making out with the dog, and they're at this point all laughing at him and recording him, which I thought was a bit shitty. But you know, kids will be kids, I guess. I don't know. And
I would have been like, my poor dog.
Yeah.
I would have grabbed my dog away.
I would have pulled them away. I don't know. That's like, I mean, for everybody, I feel like that was a bit like, oh, dang, maybe we should stop this. Because he's obviously, I mean, he's not doing it because he wants to do it out of his own volition. Like, to me, it almost felt like, dang, this is not, Daniel was not giving consent right now. This feels like SA. Yeah. Like from the ghost's, perspective. But anyways, we do have them pulling him apart from the hand, and of course he's embarrassed, and he's just like, untie me, and runs off because nobody wants to delete the footage. And then immediately we have nobody caring, and Mia just being like, okay, my turn, get the perv dog out, and let's
get your thought dog out, and
let's go. And
no
even
cameras,
even
she says.
What's her name? Jade even stays in there. She doesn't even run after him to like check up on him.
Yeah.
She just stays in there. She's like, okay.
And probably her feelings were hurt.
Probably. And then we have a montage basically of them all partaking in the hand.
And then the poor dog outside just whimpering. Being like,
and
let me back in.
Yeah. And right. And then at this, they should let the dog touch the hand. And then throughout this whole montage, this is where we get that kind of like, it seems like
the
touching
dog starts
hand.
Talking, and it's like
dog demons. Could you imagine a dog ghost? There's probably so many dog ghosts out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I literally, just yesterday I was driving and I saw a doggy on the side of like the sidewalk, and I thought like maybe it was, is it laying? Is it sleeping? And then I came up to a stop sign and I was close to it, and it was just like down over there, and I was just like whistling to it, and it was not responding. Poor thing was dead. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. It was like a little pit something. It was cute. Poor thing. It looked, poor baby. It looked, and it's probably like a 2 or 3 year old doggy. But yeah, we have looking like every time that they touch the hand, it's like kind of like a hit of a drug. Like they look like they're enjoying it. They look, we obviously get like, all the different spirits talking through them. It's a rush because they're like, the guys are like pounding their chest, and they're like making all these faces. And then whenever they get off of it, even Joss was doing this weird, like tweaking type of thing in a way. And so you could tell that like they're getting more than just like it's doing something more for them, more than just like speaking to the ghosts, because I feel like they're not even at this point doing it really to like speak with the spirits. They're doing it more for like the feeling, and because I guess they think it's fun, and they're making each other laugh. I guess at this point nothing bad has happened just yet, but it's about to, because we have freaking Riley asking to take a turn.
James sits down first, and they're like, absolutely not, you're not going to do that. And
Jade especially, Jade is kind of the leader on that.
Was like, he was like, you're not 18, like you're not the boss of me, kind of thing. And she was like, you're not 15, so
get out.
Yeah, you can't do this.
And I mean, rightfully so. She's just being like a, good older sister trying to protect them. Because obviously, even her, she just kind of like at the beginning was like, I don't want to do that. Don't do that. But
did she even do it?
I don't think I saw
she
her.
Did.
No, she never did.
I think she's just a bystander in this. And it was like, no, she's the only logical one. Yeah. Who's like, no, thank you. I don't want to get possessed by a ghost.
Yeah. I'd like to be in control of my body.
Yeah.
Which this could all also be like metaphors for drug use. Right?
Yeah.
It's just literally your friends making you do
Big.
heroin. And she's just like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'll be fine without the trip. I'll watch. And so anyways, we do have all of that happening. And then Riley is like, I want to turn. There's kind of a little spat that happens between brother and sister, and she ends up leaving the room.
He's
and
like, I hate you.
he convinces Mia to be like, what about 60 seconds? And she's like, okay, 50. So she lets him do it for 50 seconds. Which we have him touch the hand, and he's like, whoa, and they're like, just okay, just say let you in, or I let you in, which he does, and it takes effect, and immediately we're like, oh crap, because this is not just any regular spirit, this is Mia's mom, because it starts directly referencing her and calls her like a nickname that only I guess she would know or be called by from her mom.
And I could tell. Could you tell right from the moment he panicked and glanced at Mia? I was like, "That's her
he
mom."
knows, he recognizes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was like,
Mhm.
"This is gonna be her mom,"
And it is.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's
freaking
basically saying, like, you know,
it was an accident. I would have never intentionally meant to leave you.
yeah, and then she's saying like, "I'm so proud of you, and I love you, and I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to hurt the both of you," kind of thing, and she basically stops them from allowing him to stop.
Yeah, because it's gone over 50 seconds at this point.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't break the connection, please. It's my mom. And so she allows it to go further until further is too long. And it's now way past over the 90 seconds.
Yeah,
and
it'd been like 2 minutes, they said later on.
And we have poor Riley, like, you know, the mom is still talking through him, but at this point it even sounds like that water spirit like now choking on water, because she's like, I got, and then just
gurgling, and
he just slams his head on the table in front of him, and then continues
and the
to do it,
immediately
pouring
gets
down
on the table,
on
and
his
then he
face.
starts pulling out his eyeball.
And
what's with both of the movies that we watched
with eyeballs,
yeah,
and
with
goriness.
eyeballs.
And so we have all of this happening. It's really kind of quite terrifying as he starts attacking himself, and they're trying to take the hand off, but they cannot get it off of him, and he ends up like flying across the room with the chair. And then like at that point I thought, oh my god, this boy's gonna go through the window, but thankfully he doesn't. I don't know if this is even any better though, but he starts like beating his head in on the counter, on the dresser
on the corner,
and then poor Jade comes in to try to stop him, and she like gets her hand fucking smashed
broken with his head.
So you got to know that's a lot of force there. And you know, they're trying to get the hand off him, and at this point I believe they do, but like through all of this they're freaking out. Daniel's got to call 911. They're like, oh my god. And then of course Mia's having a moment because she just like had her mom quote unquote talk to her, and so she's like in this kind of state of disbelief as she's cleaning herself up. And then the cops are talking to them, and then Jade has to call her mom, which obviously any mom would be like, what the fuck? Because she's like, he smashed his face in, and she's like, what do you mean? How is he just going to smash? What led to the smashing of his face in? Yeah.
And she did such a good job playing that phone call. Seemed like you could
it was very genuine.
The shock of the initial hearing your child's in the hospital, and then like trying to figure out what happened exactly to him and stuff. She did a great job explaining that. And honestly, Jade's actress did as well.
Oh yeah. She was pretty good throughout the whole film as well. And showing her range of like emotion, and then also like the whole spat between her and Mia later on. But we have, I guess at some point Mia's dad got called. She's, you know, been picked up. She's gone home with her dad, and her dad are like, you know, he's like, are you gonna tell me what's going on? Did you give him anything? And she's like, we didn't, we weren't doing anything. And then she's like, but you know what, you haven't been completely honest with me about mom, have you? There's something you're not telling me. And then it's very cryptic, and he just like stays silent, and she's like, okay, yeah, and goes to her bedroom, and then decides, I guess, to call an Uber and goes back to the hospital to check up on Riley. And kind of not the best parent award for dad also throughout this whole film, because I'm just like, why is your daughter never home? But okay, I get it. And yeah, she shows up at the hospital. Obviously Jade is not happy that she's there, because she's kind of mad at Mia right now. She's basically blaming Mia, And then we have Mia going into the room, or not at the room, but by the window, and then the mom seeing her. So Sue comes out and then starts yelling at Mia and is like, basically, if you ever come here again, I'm gonna call the cops. This is your fault. Like, I can't believe you would do this. And she's like, I didn't hurt him. And obviously Sue doesn't believe her because, I mean, there's at this point not been too much of an explanation. So her only dots are like, well, Mia must have done something, or he must have taken something to do this to himself.
Yeah, I was a little bit like, why is the mom blaming Mia? Like this, I mean, it is Mia's fault, but also it's
Well, she was kind of mad
Riley's
at both of them.
fault too.
True.
For wanting to, but she doesn't know what happened.
Yeah, she doesn't connect those dots. Yeah.
We also saw that Mia took the hand.
Yeah, she did. Mm-hmm.
She took the hand home. But as she is standing there in the hospital, she starts seeing her mom again. She's seeing her everywhere. She saw her at the house whenever she going
washing herself off, right?
Yeah, after she got done doing that and talking with the police, she sees her mom through the glass door, kind of standing there. And of course, it's like a beveled glass, so you can't actually see her, but you can tell it's her mom's silhouette. And then she sees her mom in the reflection in the window of one of the not offices, but little rooms. Yeah, a hospital room. And she then follows this spirit and goes and follows it into a bathroom. And in this bathroom, we start hearing the door slam shut. And
basically kind of reenacting the moment that her dad couldn't open up the bedroom door. Yeah. Essentially, but with Mia.
The door slams shut. And then she is trying to get inside the door because she starts hearing this scratching on it. And stuff too. And so she's like trying to open the door because she realizes it's her mom and is like, mom, and trying to get in, and then finally gets in, and there's of course no one there on the other side, which was really kind of spooky. Yeah. And
then at this point, that's whenever we have her getting spooked and going out of the bathroom, and then she runs into Daniel, who sees her like all totally freaked out. And so like she runs away from him and into the stairway, and he's like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And she doesn't really say anything, but then we cut to them in the vehicle, and he's giving her a ride home, and he's explaining to her how, like, you know, he told his parents that he was at a cousin's house, and because he's over the age of 18, the police did not call his parents to let them know what had happened. So he can't go home, or else they'll know something that is up. So she suggests that he go and stay with her at her place.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of weird sexual tension between them, like the whole time, especially once they get into her house. And you can see the little carved Daniel plus Mia inside a heart. Yeah.
It gives that there was definitely probably more than just a kiss or like them holding hands, like what Jade said. Yeah. It's probably what they told her because they didn't want Jade to know the truth. Like maybe there was something a little deeper or something. Yeah. Just to like spare her feelings or something. And so then we have them having that moment together, and they start like putting their hands together, which then I'm like, oh boy, this is getting very... Y'all are getting way too close. Yeah. Like, y'all are about to cross some lines if y'all do not stop, which I think they both are kind of like aware of, and then they both have to pull away and be like, okay, it's time to go to bed. Like,
yeah, because well, I felt like Mia didn't want to pull away.
Oh no, yeah, it's definitely like, more Daniel.
Yeah, because then she had mentioned how she could feel his heartbeat through his fingertips. The only time they ever held hands, and then. Sorry, that distracted me.
It's okay.
Whenever they held hands, she could feel his fingerprints, not through his heartbeat through his fingertips. And then I feel like his heart was racing again whenever they were touching hands, and she could feel it again. Yeah. And I think because he is sexually attracted to her and not Jade.
Oh, and not Jade, yeah.
Yeah, just like the ghost said. Because the ghost was making the moaning sounds and stuff at
Jade.
Yeah.
And it feels like he's definitely like restricting himself to, I don't know, whatever hang-ups he has or whatever is going on. You know, he's a good Christian boy, as whatever Jade said at the beginning. But he ends up, you know, pulling away. They end up going to bed, and that's whenever we have Miss Mia end up falling asleep eventually. After watching like Snapchat videos, right?
Yeah, Snapchat memories going through with like her mom and stuff like that. And as she's going to sleep, she like inches closer to Daniel, trying to touch him while sleeping. They're sleeping like opposite of one another. Yeah, foot to head. And she like, puts her forearm against his calf and then touches his forearm with her feet and stuff like that, and gets as close to him as like physically possible without waking him up. And she then wakes up in a dream and is kissing Daniel in this dream. And
smoochy dream.
Yep. And then they're like kind of getting into it.
Unfortunately, not just a wet dream, because she's hearing like the whole, again, which kind of plays throughout the movie, a reenactment of her dad like pulling her mom out of the bedroom when she was found after her suicide, unalived self. And we have basically all this happening, and then we have her coming to,
and her hands then turned into being bloodied with wood under her fingers, which right. I feel like is I don't know, kind of maybe she feels guilty or something like that, and it's come into
haunt her.
Yeah.
Because then she wakes up from this dream state, which we think she's waking up from a dream state, and she sees this weird ass old white lady in the corner.
Yeah, she hears humming, and at first you don't see her, but then it kind of eventually the camera settles on the corner of the room, and then you can tell that something's in the corner, but it's playing the tricks on your eyes. Like the movie's just dark enough to where it's like, is that a weird pile of clothes that looks like a human, or is it just a weird pile of clothes? And then it moves, and you're like, oh no, fuck, that's a human.
And it comes closer to her, looking at her all oddly and weirdly. And then it ends up doing this like weird dash all the way up to Daniel's feet, and starts like her eyes go back and then rolls into her head and starts sucking on Daniel's feet.
Yeah, just starts going ham and putting like past the knuckle.
Oh yeah,
into her mouth.
Mia's freaking out,
really going for it,
and she's trying to wake up Daniel. And then she like finally, Daniel wakes up, but when he looks down at his feet, it is not a ghost lady. It is Mia who is sucking his feet,
with her eyes rolled back into her head, and she looks like
possessed.
Yeah, I would have, if I was Daniel in that moment. I mean, of course, he's just woken up from sleep, so he's probably really groggy, but I would have been like, what the fuck? You look possessed.
But it was dark in the room.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he necessarily could have seen that.
Her eyes looked gigantic, though. And they were really white.
I feel like what he woke up to was just like, oh no, why the fuck is Mia sucking my toes?
No, I agree.
And then especially after maybe like the weird sexual tension energy earlier. But yeah, I agree with you though. Obviously, she wasn't herself. And I think like a better person who knows someone else would have been like, I know that's not you. Like, what's going on? But because he ends up being like, like fuck off. Like, I'm just going to go and I'm going to leave. And she's like trying to get him to stop. And he's like, no, I'm leaving. This is crazy. You're crazy. Which also I'm like, how did the dad not wake up? But okay.
Yeah, I was like, how would the dad not know that there's a boy in the house too?
Yeah. But she ends up like freaking out a little bit, and then she's in her room and she's like slaps herself, and then after slapping herself, she's like, okay, you know what? Time to pull out the hand,
and lights the candle on her own and starts having conversations with her mom. Yeah. She doesn't invite her in, but she says at least the talk to me.
Yeah.
And it's her mom sitting across from her, and her mom's like saying, like, no, I didn't do it on purpose. I love you, and I would never, ever want to leave you.
Yeah. And that Riley needs help.
Yeah. And then she says, Mia, Riley needs help. And then you see them going and cuddling into bed together with the ghost just cradling Mia as they sleep, which was like, ugh, that's not your mom. Also, her face still looked so creepy.
Yeah, and you can see throughout the movie visibly, like her face every time we do see her is getting worse and worse. like reverting back to maybe the other ghost that we think that it is.
Yeah.
And so it's now the next day, and we have, or I don't know, it could be even just right now, same time, but we have Sue and Jade bathing Riley, and Sue gets this call from their father, so she goes to take the call, and whenever we have Riley left alone with Jade, she's trying to talk to him, get him to come back too, which he does for like a little bit, but whenever he does, he ends up biting her in the hand, and I love how she like throws him off the chair.
Yeah.
Because of course, I mean, he's biting her. But,
yeah, it was a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, but he goes off, and then he starts like banging his head into the back of the ceramic tile on the wall.
And shattering the tile.
Oh, yeah,
which was like, damn, he's hitting it really hard. And
that's whenever she's screaming for help. The nurse comes in. They don't know what's going on with him. So it just kind of seems like a...
And it's so creepy the way he starts lapping up the blood.
Oh,
like
yeah.
He's like a cat or something. It's just like...
And we see the blood draining into the drain, which I thought was a pretty cool shot.
Yeah, that's always a good classic horror movie shot.
And then we have them... then the gang meeting up because now they need to talk about what's going on. And then Mia asks them, like, have y'all been seeing stuff still? Because I have, and just basically like word vomits everything she's been seeing and what's been happening to her. And that's whenever we get Jocelyn bringing up Duckett and talking about how
this is where we get that he got it from Duckett, and that they need to go talk to Cole, Duckett's brother. And so they're going to talk to Cole. They meet him they kind of ambush him at a bus station.
Honestly.
And
he's like, what the fuck? And then it doesn't give them any information really. And then they have to go onto the bus. Lord knows where they're even going. And then they just follow him and have a conversation with him and basically explaining like the details of the situation to, I guess, reach his humanity. And then he's basically just like, though, like,
you let a kid do it? Are you stupid?
Like, y'all were stupid enough to do it yourselves, but a kid?
And to let him go for 2 minutes? Like,
yeah.
No.
And
what have y'all done?
He's basically just like, y'all are stupid. Y'all are fucked. There's nothing. He has no information for them. He's just like, sorry. Like,
my brother's dead. I have no clue. Yeah.
And so they're like, damn. So that then sparks a fight between Mia and Jade, who's Jade's a little savage. And it's just like, I wish you would never like have latched yourself
forced your way into our family.
And then we have Mia not necessarily reacting, still on topic, like, well, now what if we didn't blow out the candle in time or do it right? Like, let's connect Riley again and blow out the candle this time. And of course, everybody's reaction is like, you want to do what with him again? Like the thing that killed him? But she's basically kind of desperate at this point.
Yeah. And she's like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
They basically have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And they take the hand and they go to Riley and they try to make it happen again. And essentially, it's not necessarily working at first because also the way she's like talk to him, like it's not how it works. He can't talk. He
can't talk for himself. Yeah, he's intubated. And
we have this little girl pop up, little ghost girl.
Once Mia decides to try it herself and she says, maybe I can talk to him.
Yeah. And
she holds the hand and says, Riley, talk to me. And this little girl pops up and she says, like, Mia's asking, is Riley here? Like, can I speak to him? And the little girl's like kind of nods her head yes. And she's like, I can take you to him. And then all of a sudden we're in this like, it basically what I imagine hell would have to look like.
Yeah.
Poor Riley's just being like ripped apart by
tortured
individuals. And it's just like an orgy kind of thing of like
people just like wanting to probably get inside his body.
Yeah. They're just like prying and all trying to get towards him. And he's just getting torn, like not literally torn limb from limb, but
no, he's just getting pulled
from every direction.
And so she obviously is like, whoa, this is a lot. She like gets out of that state, and as they pull the hand off of her, and then Daniel's trying to like comfort her, and she's like, don't touch me, and is basically explaining to them like they have him and they're never gonna let go and they're gonna keep torturing him forever and ever and ever, and like pushes so the hand away.
How she didn't say I let you in, but the little girl did.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought as well. I was like, oh, we could do reverse.
Got into that area where Riley was. Yeah, which I was like, damn.
Yeah. And so after all of this happening, we then have Mia going home, and she ends up having this conversation with her dad, because her dad's like, I should have shared this with you a long time ago. And it's basically her mother's suicide note, kind of explaining that, like, you know, she did that on purpose and she didn't. It's going in contrast to what the ghost has been telling her, because then she's like not buying it, and she's like, she's having a freak out moment. She goes to her room, and then this is when the ghost who's imitating her mom is being like, he's lying, I didn't do that.
It's not your dad.
That is not your dad.
It's the ghost impersonating him. It's not
funny,
true.
because it's coming from, what is it, the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so then we do have a fake impersonation of dad, like screaming at the door, wanting to come
And the mom
in.
does warn her. She was like, they're imitating your dad, and he's going to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what he does. He busts through the door and
starts attacking her.
Just like is like choking her.
But at the same time,
stuff.
we have real dad like kind of hearing the commotion upstairs, because there's a visible, like, the ghost obviously can't be seen, but she's like, I guess, getting thrown around invisibly through the room, so he can hear that. So he goes up there trying to save her, but the door is locked. So once again, kind of like a mom and her situation.
Yeah, I'm sure he feels very helpless.
I'm sure he's feeling triggered as fuck right now.
Yeah, trying to get through, and he eventually does get through. Sees
her on the floor getting like invisibly attacked.
Mia just writhing.
And she grabs the scissors just in time to
stab dad in the neck.
So unfortunate. And she
stabs her real dad.
And I mean, immediately is like, oh, fuck. Because she's like, this is my real dad. Damn.
And then just leaves him.
Yeah. She does. And I think at this point, she's broken. I think at this point, she's like no longer Mia.
Yeah.
That we know. Yeah. That's the last straw.
But she calls Jade and is like, come to my house. I know what we can do to fix Riley, basically. But then we see as Jade gets into her car to leave.
Riley's at the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, Mia's at the hospital.
Jade takes some convincing to get away, but then finally she's like, I'll be there in 10. Yeah. And we see that Mia's at the hospital and she's there so she can kill Riley. She's got the same scissors that she just stabbed her dad with in her back pocket. But thank God mom comes in just in time.
And starts to talk to her. Yeah. And they have this little heart-to-heart moment.
She's like, I never meant to, say that to you. Like, I was just upset in the moment. And
she's stressed out,
I know that you're actually, like family and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And so then that's whenever Mia is like, you know what? Can I have a moment alone with Riley?
Yeah.
And so and especially because then her mom's like, I know you would never hurt him. And then immediately, what is she going to do? I'm going to try to kill him.
I'm going to try to kill him.
So she does ask for that moment, and she can't bring herself to stab him because she also sees this old man that's taken his place, and he's basically taunting Mia.
Yeah. He's like, you found me. And then he's like, you can't take him.
Yeah. We have him.
He's ours forever now. Blah.
And so she can't bring herself to stab him. But at the same time, obviously, Jade is getting back to her house and she's like, honking at the horn. She's trying to get in. She does get in. And that's whenever she's like, she sees the hand and then she's like, huh. And then she goes upstairs and she sees that the dad has been stabbed. But at the same time, Mia's trying to kill what's his face, but then can't. But then she sees this like flashback of the kangaroo.
Yeah.
And it leads her to think of
idea.
Going to the road. And so
to put Riley out of his misery, because Riley is just like this little baby kangaroo now at that point.
And so she ends up taking him out, and the mom comes back. She's freaking out, like, where's my baby? And then Jade gives the mom a call. Oh, well, she already gave the call. And then Sue's like, where's my baby? But then Jade thankfully gets back to the hospital just in time to see Riley like going towards the highway. And so she runs after them. And we have this whole moment with Riley. I mean, between Riley being in the wheelchair and Mia holding him. And she's kind of having this contemplative moment of like wanting to push him into oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
Thankfully, though, I'm pretty sure that as she's coming to, notice that the spirit behind her, who is still portraying her mom, is like, we're gonna take care of him, like, it's okay, this is the right thing to do,
he'll be ours forever.
I feel like at that moment, that's when she realized, like, oh shit, I don't think this is
the right thing to do.
And she lets go. This is what I think, because it kind of can be left up to your interpretation, because it could also be like Jade could have came up and like pushed her and saved.
I kind of feel like Jade pushed her.
She ends up going into the traffic as opposed to Riley, who's still safe on the side of the road with Jade in her arms. And then we kind of have Mia waking up, and it's kind of like this time moving fast forwarding ghost world that she's in, I guess.
Yeah. And sort of out of body experience.
Mhm.
She gets into the hospital and she's seeing flashes of everything. Like we're seeing Riley get better and his face look normal again. And we're seeing her dad leaving the hospital and walking out. And we're seeing Riley and them leave the hospital as well. And the lights are all turning off and she's running. And
she had that
she runs to a mirror, right? And then
there's no reflection, just like her nightmare.
we realize it's a reflection, like when the doctor passes by, but yeah, she's not in it. And then her fingers are all just like mangled too, which was really gross looking.
And then it goes like you're right, all those lights turn off and it goes pitch black, and that's whenever we
she
see
runs to
her dad.
her dad chasing her dad down to the elevator. And but then that's when we see a table with a hand outstretched. And she goes and grabs this hand right when it says, "Talk to me." And she's now one of the spirits on the other side of the hand.
And then she's there, and these people are obviously not English speaking, and they're talking a different language, and then he's like, "I let you in," and she's like, and then that's the end of the movie. Yep.
A pretty good way to end it. Yeah. In my opinion.
Full circle. Yeah. She's now a part of it, which is what they said. And then I guess we even earlier, Cole, Duckett's brother, did mention that, like, eventually, like, if you stop messing with it, they let you, they
get weaker with time.
They get weaker and they let you go. So we can, I guess, explain that's what happened with Riley is, but they were really playing and toying with her to get her to kill him.
So that way they could keep the soul forever.
Exactly. Which is pretty wild. There was a lot going on in the movie.
Yeah.
Whenever I first watched it, I was really like, "Oh wow, this is pretty cool. It's a different take or newer like version of like a spirit board movie." I think all the actors did pretty good. Everybody was pretty believable. Even like the mom, Mia, did a really good job. I feel like she sold a lot of the emotion on her face throughout the whole film, which was pretty good.
She was very emotive. She did a great job.
I liked everybody's accent throughout the whole movie, to be. It was pretty cool. And I think that the plot like was pretty. I mean, it's only an hour and a half, so it's like it goes like it's not. There's nothing that really snags it. It all kind of derives into the narrative somewhere. Even I guess kind of meeting the brother Cole, who kind of gave them nothing but gave them something. I don't know. It kind of gave us a moment again between everybody getting back together and trying to figure out like making sense of all of everything. Yeah, and coming up with the plan, even though that plan was kind of bad. But overall, I think I would give this movie about 4 BooBaes out of 5. 4. Yeah, I think it was pretty solid. I think it was above average than like a mid movie. Oh yeah. But I definitely do feel like there were some things that maybe could have been better flexed out, if that makes sense. But overall, it was still really good. Yeah, everybody did great. I liked the story. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty thrilling. I would probably pay again just to have the experience in a movie theater as opposed to just watching it at home. Because I feel like that added to it. Yeah. Do you have any fun facts?
I do. 6 hands were made for the movie should any of them happen to get damaged or broken. And director Danny Phillips, how do you say his name? Philippou,
something like that, yeah.
Kept one of the hands. Cool. Danny and Michael Philippou turned down the chance to direct an unknown film in the DCEU in favor of having Talk to Me be their directorial film debut, which I think was probably a good call on their part.
Because that's like they're known for that then, as like they did that as opposed to like being a part of a bigger universe.
Whenever I typed in Talk to Me, it's the number 3 most searched horror film.
That's awesome. Good for them.
On like the internet right now. Yeah. Which is still.
And the DCEU is dying. Yeah. Nobody watches DC movies. Everybody's into Marvel. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, also because they're just not very good.
They're not that great. Yeah.
The comics are good. DC comics are good, but
better than Marvel?
No.
But they're good. Well, and I just think that's a whole other podcast. Yeah.
And that's, of course, all just opinion. Yeah. But this says, except for a couple of grip rig shots, the entire second possession scene montage was shot in less than 1 hour. that like montage of all of them getting.
Oh yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
that's pretty cool.
That really means they put out their acting chops and got into makeup and stuff.
I mean, she was speaking French and everything.
Yeah, she was singing it. That was cool.
Well,
I
don't know.
liked it.
It sounded like her voice. It could have been a dubbed, but that really did sound like her voice, like, just in French.
I believe that she could speak French.
Yeah, I believe it. At least for that part. At least remember some lines. Which sounds believable to me.
And have a good accent. Let's see. When asked if he would make a sequel, director Danny Philippou said, "Oh my God, yes, at A24 would need the first one to be successful though, so help me."
Yeah.
It's a little tweet that he
Worked
had.
out.
And then Danny Philippou co-wrote the film with Raka. I don't know, collaborator Bill Hinzman. The team was joined by producer Samantha Jennings and Krista Satan or Cayton, Ceyton. So who knows?
I don't know.
From Causeway Films, who made The Babadook.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
A little connection there.
So that is neat.
And the horror industry.
I think for me, this film didn't really live up I felt like it was so overhyped. I did still thoroughly enjoy this film. I thought it was really good. I liked all the shots and everything like that. It did feel very more like art film, like it was at a film festival. Choices. Yeah, and stuff. So I really enjoyed that. But with people saying that it was like better than Hereditary and Midsommar and stuff like that, I was expecting a shit ton from this movie.
Gotcha.
So my expectations were like through the roof. And then I watched it and was like, this was not better than Hereditary or Midsommar, in my opinion.
Yeah. But I mean, that is all opinion though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it just wasn't as good. I do still think it was a fantastic film though. And I would recommend this film to anyone, and I'd watch it again. Easily. I'd love to watch it again just to
pick at it again.
Yeah. And not be taking notes and stuff through it.
Yeah.
And not having to pause it and just being able to enjoy it. And I think it would be a rather enjoyable film to watch again. It had some really scary moments, like that feet sucking scene, the grandma crawling on the floor and stuff.
Yeah.
Scary as shit. Was not a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a fan, but I was not. If that was happening to me in real life, I would be shitting my pants.
Yeah.
So I think I would have to probably give this film a 4 too.
4. Yeah.
4 as well.
I mean, it's pretty solid. It's a great.
It just wasn't a 5 in my book.
It was a pretty good story.
Yeah, it was.
I maybe just needed. Maybe honestly, if they even tacked on like a good 20-ish, 30 more minutes, I wouldn't mind. And then it could be like a fully more fleshed out story.
Yeah.
Of kind of connecting more
maybe
dots,
a little
giving
bit
us some more background.
What happened at the end too.
Yeah.
Like maybe
too.
seeing Riley's recovery a little bit more or something.
It kind of maybe felt a little rushed right there at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like they wrap things up very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could
but it was also like what it would be like in a dream state.
Or like living, we don't know, like in her ghost realm, probably time works differently, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows? That was a cool artistic take on that. But I wouldn't mind seeing more of what happened with Riley and them.
So hopefully they do that in the sequel or something. To give us a little bit more details. Who knows?
But definitely will be watching the sequel when it comes out. I'd be interested in seeing it. But yeah, it's 2022/23's Talk to Me.
And like always, we're in the lovely Rogue Media Network studio.
That's right. They take great care of us.
And you can listen to our podcast and a lot of other podcasts on their website at roguemedianetwork.com.
And then you can also listen to us or all of the other amazing podcasts all in a couple different places wherever you get your podcast, but the biggest two being
Spotify
and also Apple. And wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that's the only way we can get ahead in this world. And if you're following along with our spooky month of October, just know that we'll be covering Barbarian next. It's a listener request from our friend Nancy.
Yes.
And so we'll be talking about that. So if you want to let us know your thoughts on Barbarian, please do so. and will love to read it out loud.
And
Yeah.
where can they do that at?
They can do that all in one central place, and that is Instagram at
BooBaes Podcast, at BOOBAES, because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
And until next time, you guys.
Bye, Baes.
Bye, Baes.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.